Financial literacy is not accounting. I've seen a lot of university accounting graduates who spend like they don't even know the difference between an asset and a liability. So accounting is a profession. It has nothing to do with being rich. But financial literacy are lessons of wisdom that teaches a person financial independence and how to become wealthy. Hi book fanatics, welcome to Books and Biographies 101. My name is Mr. Mahai, aka The Bookworm. The purpose of this channel is that we analyze books for people who like reading books. And I also love helping people who are lazy to read books to get information found in books. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe in order to continue to get good food for thought. And don't forget to like our videos, guys, if you're gaining something from watching this video. Today's in-depth review is on a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert T. Kiyosaki. This is my favorite and simple financial literacy book I've ever read. So in this book, Robert goes through his journey of life when he was groomed to become financially literate. So it contains the contrasting thinking between his real dad, whom he refers to as the poor dad, and his friend's dad, whom he refers to as the rich dad. He refers to his real father as the poor dad because his father was a college graduate professor, but he showed to have no information or nothing to do with financial literacy because he couldn't even manage his finances. And his rich dad, who's his friend's dad, is someone who dropped out at an early age at school. Like, he dropped out school when he was 13 years of age, but he knows how to generate money and how to manage his finances. What is interesting about this book is that Robert broke down the complex financial literacy concepts into simple financial literacy concepts that everyone could understand. This book relates the lessons that Robert and Mike learned from the rich dad from a younger age. So Mike is the son of the rich dad. But Robert and Mike were exposed to the riches from a younger age because they were attending a school that was mostly dominated by rich kids. And at that time, their parents were not rich yet. Even the rich dad was not rich yet. So Mike and Robert were exposed to kids who had everything they wanted to have. But the problem was that Robert and Mike couldn't have everything they wanted to have because their parents couldn't afford it. So they both wanted to be rich so that they can afford everything they wanted to have. Robert's dad knew nothing about making money, but he recommended that the kids should go to Mike's dad, who knew something about making money or knew the secret of making money. But Mike's dad was not yet wealthy at that time. So Robert and Mike were so fortunate to be the students of rich dad from a younger age. But the rich dad taught them differently from how they were taught at school. Because rich dad believed that actions speak louder than words. So if he wanted them to learn something, he would challenge them to experience what he wanted them to learn so that they can relate clearly to what he wanted to say to them or what he is telling them. The first lesson is that the rich don't work for money. Only the poor and middle class work for money. This is because the poor and middle class are mostly controlled by emotions of fear and greed. So instead of them thinking, using their minds, they react to the emotions. Like, for example, if a poor person or a middle class person feel the fear of poverty, they go all out to find any kind of a job they can find. Or they go to a college to do a degree that they don't even like, just to secure a job or to have financial security. So after they get that job, the emotion of greed takes over. So they spend money like nobody's business. After a few months, they feel like that income is no longer enough. So what they do is that they complain to their managers for payment increment, or they quit the job to find another better job that gives better income. So the cycle goes over and over again. It never stops because what they don't realize is that it's life pushing them around since they don't know how to control their emotions. And it's a different case with wealthy people, because wealthy people master how to control their emotions, and that gives them the leverage to control even their money. So instead of them having been pushed by life all over around, they are capable of making life listen to them and give them whatever they want, since they know how to control their emotions. And that is why the rich don't work for money, but they make money work for them. The second lesson is financial literacy. It is important that we know the difference between an asset and a liability. As explained by Robert, an asset is something that brings money into your pocket, and a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. So a lot of middle class people, they mistake assets for liabilities. So they buy big homes, plenty of cars, which they refer to them as assets. Whereas the reality is that a home is not an asset, but a liability that everyone wants to have. So an asset is a type of a rental home that brings money into your pocket. And the same applies to cars. Another big problem with the poor and the middle class is that their expenses always equal or exceed their income. So they are trapped in the rat race. A rat race is a situation whereby a person earns income to pay the bills and then wait for next month to do the same thing without any kind of change in their life. So their vision is based on next month when they get money to pay the bills. So other than that, what they have is just dreams that they will never attain. Because what they have is empty wishes that only if I can get enough money, I'll buy a real estate property without sacrificing any kind of thing to generate that income or to generate that money for buying the real estate property. So it is important that we learn financial literacy so that we create financial independence and also focus more on the assets rather than the liabilities. So before you buy that dream house or that dream car, generate an asset stream that will help you buy and maintain that dream house or dream car of yours. The third lesson is that mind your own business. By minding your own business, Robert refers to having your own asset stream. So a lot of professionals are mistaking their professions for their business because they think the only way to create income is through their work. And because they don't have financial literacy, they don't see the importance of creating asset streams. And what they do is that they work for people. They never work for themselves. They work for their owners. They work for the government via paying taxes. They work for the banks via paying mortgages and the loans. But what they do is not paying themselves. So you can keep your daily job, but create your own asset stream. But if you keep your daily job, create a kind of an asset stream that will not require your presence. Like create a business that will not require your presence and only let your money generate money for you. The fourth lesson is the history of taxes and the power of corporations. So taxes were initially generated to punish the rich and benefit the poor. It was a clear Robin Hood algorithm that worked in creating the taxes. So the socialists suggested the taxes in order to professionally steal from the rich and give to the poor. But instead, their system backfired. And instead of the system stealing from the rich and giving the poor, the system is stealing from the middle class and giving to everyone. So a lot of professionals in the middle class, the doctors, the professors, and other people who are working for the government are paying much in taxes. And the riches are not even paying much in taxes because they've generated what they call the corporations. And the corporations are not taxed much as compared to personal incomes. Fourth lesson is the rich invent money. What makes the rich look like the gods of making money is because they have boldness as compared to the poor and the middle class, who are mostly controlled by fear. So the poor and the middle class, they have what they call calculated risks and playing it safe, but the rich don't have that. The rich take fear as a motivation to do even more. They go big or they go home. If they lose, they want to lose big. If they win, they want to win big. That's how they do. That's their boldness. There is no one who is bold in the world who is considered to be poor, because boldness brings a quality that is very different from fear that people have. And once you don't have fear that people have, or once you take fear as a motivation to do more, you become rich, automatically rich, because money is a benefit that comes after doing something that is showing more boldness. So being rich is not only about money, it's about boldness. So a lot of people who are afraid of something that never happens. We are afraid of losing our money. We protect our money, and we use that money that we protected to buy liabilities. We don't risk our money to create assets that will create us something else in the future. We don't use our money to risk things that are worth something in the future, but we protect our money to buy liabilities that will not benefit us in any way in the future. So if you don't have that level of boldness, you will never be rich. And if you hear somebody saying, I have this amount of money that I need in order to start creating my empire or to create my business that will lead me to the benefits in the future, that person is a sign of being weak and lacking boldness. Because making rich, making your way to the riches doesn't even require a cent. People have become billionaires just by having ideas, and because they had the boldness, that is what led them to the riches. The sixth lesson is that work to learn, don't work for money. The reason why entrepreneurs are so complicated is because they work to learn, unlike a lot of college professionals who depend on job security or financial security. So a lot of professionals, they focus on the path of having promotions. They want to be promoted to be deans. They want to be promoted to be HODs. They want to be promoted to be seniors in their work field. Whereas entrepreneurs, they are looking for knowledge in different fields in order to attain their ultimate aim, which is financial freedom. What they are mostly focusing on is knowledge and ownership. The seventh lesson is overcoming the obstacles. So there are 5 obstacles that the rich dad taught Robert and Mike, and they are the obstacles that differentiates the poor and middle class from the rich. So the rich dominate these obstacles, but the poor and the middle class are dominated by these obstacles. The first one is fear. The second one is cynicism. The third one is laziness. The fourth one is bad habits, more especially bad habits of spending. The fifth one is arrogance. There is this interesting story told about the people who conquered fear, which are the Alamo soldiers of Texas, who decided to fight even if there was no hope of winning. And that's what caught the interest of a lot of people, and that's what led their story to be written in history. It's because they didn't choose to surrender. They chose to fight even if there was no hope of winning. Even today, they lost. We know they lost, but they became heroes for us because they had the guts to fight even if there was no hope of winning. And that is exactly what makes the richest to be different from the poor and the middle class. The richest have the guts to face fear and use fear as the motivation. But the poor are conquered by fear. The eighth and the last lesson is that pay yourself first. This is the same philosophy that existed for centuries, and it was explained by a card in the book of The Richest Man in Babylon, which I just reviewed, and you can go watch it. So basically, this philosophy is that the rich always make it a point to pay themselves first, because if they pay everyone first, they will be trapped in the rat race. And the rich dad also use this as a motivation, because after paying himself first, if there is no enough money to pay the bills, he always make it a point to work harder in order to pay the bills. But in no circumstances does he use his money that he paid himself or for his assets to pay the bills. Now let's look at this cash flow, which is for people who pay themselves first. Their income goes directly to their assets before it can go to their expenses. So their piece of income, which can be 10 or 20%, goes to their assets before everything can be spent on the expenses. And now let's look at this cash flow, which is for people who pay everyone first. Their income goes directly to their expenses, and in most cases, nothing is left to go to the asset stream. This is the exact reason why the rich continue to get richer and the poor continue to suffer. The overall philosophy of this book is that academic education does not make you rich. What makes the difference is the financial literacy. So don't get this wrong. Professionals have high chances of becoming rich because they earn a lot of money as compared to people who earn less money. But if professionals don't have financial literacy, they have less chances of becoming rich as compared to people who are earning less but having financial literacy. So financial literacy is the one that produces riches, regardless of the situation, regardless of whether you earn less or you earn more. If you like today's review, hit that like button, comment down below what you learned from this book review, share the video with friends and family so that they get this information and learn something. And also, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe in order to get good food for thought. And don't forget to hit that post notification bell so that you get informed whenever I post and probably be the first person to see my videos. Find the link for the PDF version of the book in the description box below. And other than that, I'll see you soon. Peace out.